So today we're talking about the season of giving. And, for me, when I hear about the season of giving, the first thing that comes to my mind is Christmas. And probably that's what's come to your mind too. But today we're talking about more than that. So I'd like you to stay to the end of this video just to find out and learn the power of giving and the power of receiving, which will, I believe, will bring you much closer to your dream. Glenn, I'm so glad you're here with me today to dive in this topic. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here as well.
And, I'd really like to introduce you to our listeners who are joining us for the first time. So Glenn is a financial advisor as well as an infinite banking practitioner and provides his expertise around the topic of insurance and financial education. We have been having some great discussion around the topic of insurance and finances. So if you want to know more about what we've been discussing, please feel free just to check the videos in our playlist, Financial Dream Building. And I've also included some links below just for you, for your convenience, so that you can just click on those links below and just to listen, right? Glenn, this is another one of my favorite topics because there's so much to discuss around giving and the season of giving, especially as we think about what we can give and the benefits of giving. So much, I really don't know where to start. So Glenn, where would you start with such a topic, with this topic?
Well, there's a little bit of a pun on the word season. Okay. In a literal sense, a season can be 3 months, right? We're talking right now, we're about a week from Christmas. So people are can very much identify with this particular season. And a lot of times gifts are thought of for especially family and close friends, right? But we also want to get out of our circle, right? We want to get out of our circle. And there's ways to deal with charities. For example, if you're donating to charities, you realize not only do you help those charities, but you can get a tax receipt so you can have a deduction on your taxes as well. So we're encouraged to give in this country. Okay.
Yes.
Now we can do gifts in a few different ways. We can do gifts, as I mentioned, of dollars out of pocket, whether that's one time or in some organizations you can do monthly ongoing. There's gifts of time where we go volunteer. We can do things like sit with the elderly. One of the ladies in my office, Amanda, does a great job. She takes out this elderly person a couple times a week, takes them shopping so they don't have to pay for taxis. Right. And, things like that you can do that make a huge difference in someone else's life. But I tell you what, don't underestimate what it does for you. It grounds you, it recharges you. And regardless of what you have going on in your life, especially if you've got some issues going on, I guarantee you, it will make you recenter and feel better, right? Yes. And there's gift of existing things. We do clothing drives, we do grocery drives. We can say, you know what, let me see what I have here in the closet that I'm not using that someone else really could, because there's always people in need, right? So there's a variety of gifts. And when we say season, again, we're concentrating immediately right now because we can all look at this Christmas season, but we're also thinking of gifts beyond that will have an impact beyond that too.
Right. And, I remember when I was doing part of the Dream Builder course, we were talking about wherever you're experiencing that lack is to the degree to your lack of giving, right? And your awareness. So if you're experiencing lack in time, then it means you could need to give more of your time. So, we are contributing and making a difference for good. It's pretty much that is because, we live in an abundant world, right? And we don't lack things, but it's just a matter of distribution. So as we go in our discussion, Glenn, I think we're more telling people how they can distribute. So, they have their time. How can they distribute their time? If they have extra funds, how can they distribute it? Extra clothing, whatever they have extra, they can do it, and just decide to become a better giver, because a lot of times we may focus on the feeling of lack, what don't we have? Instead of looking around and saying, well, I have this and I could probably contribute to that, as your coworker is doing. She's looking and she's seeing that she has some time here. And a lot of people may say, well, yeah, that's her. She has extra time. But what about, because you feel a lack of it, make the time and start creating that time, right? And then I think that may help, right? So as we practice our own awareness begins to shift and transform, right?
That's
And
so
then we
true.
become a better giver. That's what I think. That's just my
We,
thought on that.
I think we become better, period. Because there's nothing like doing for someone else or another organization to take you out of your immediate troubles. And I'm not saying everybody's walking around in a bunch of troubles. We all have things that we feel could be better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether that is whether someone else is going to look at that and go, oh, that's nothing, or that's minor. We all have things we feel could be better, right?
Right.
But I think helping someone else does so much for you, the giver, right? Whether that's again in dollars, time, or things, that does so much for you. So we are really, at the end of the day, we're helping ourselves by helping other people.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And as we're talking about giving, we talk about giving a lot, Glenn, but as we learn how to give now, we have to learn how to receive. A lot of times we don't play the receiving part. Some persons will give us a compliment and we don't receive it well. We say, oh, that's nothing. Instead of just saying, well, thank you very much, right? And I would like to talk a little bit more about the power of giving and the power of receiving, which will also bring us closer to our dream as we're talking about financial dream building, right? But before I move on, I would like to ask our viewers, have you subscribed to this channel as yet? Just make sure to hit that red subscribe button and just turn on your notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified of our new upload that comes every week. Right. So, Glenn, as we think about it, when you think about the very act of giving, when you give, you get a positive feeling. It elicits a positive feeling and elicits positive emotions, not only for the giver, but for the receiver, right? So it makes it one of the most important exchange, I think, that you can have with someone, right? So when you give, you can inspire great positive change and also healing, especially now in this world that we're living now, right? There's so many people who need this emotional healing.
Yes.
So whether we believe it or not, it has the power to immediately shift from one state to another. And then you're probably shifting to a state of grace, I'd call it, right? So you spend more time thinking about ways you can give, and then that accompany feelings of peace and joy, right? And and as I said about the feeling of receiving now as well, that's going to impact on your relationship, not only with others, but with yourself as well. And you were talking about organizations, Glenn, and I know that there may be a few people who have their favorite organizations that they give to, that they probably give on a regular basis. I do have my own favorite organization that I give on a monthly basis, and I like to do that. But I believe that when we choose an organization, we are open windows of opportunities for a lot of persons who are receiving help from these organizations, right? I think about, you talk about the Mustard Seed and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. There was one that you mentioned before.
So I kind of have my favorites,
You
okay?
have your
And we
favorites,
try
all
to
right?
expand that each
Yes.
year. I like the mustard seed because of what the
Okay.
mustard seed does. It feeds so many people and it offers shelter to some people as well, right? There's Plan Canada, which I do, which you can give gifts of. You can buy mosquito nets, or you can help select maybe goats or chickens to feed a village. These are going to be more overseas, and I have my
Right.
children help me in those selections each year because I want them to be involved and learn early that we can help other people, which in turn, it really, really helps us. It
Mm-hmm.
really does, right? So things like that. We look at like the Salvation Army do so much good work in so many different areas across this country and the world, right? That's another one of my favorites. And it's funny. One of my favorite insurance companies to work with, they offer a program where if you have a policy, you sign up for membership, they will actually provide grants of up to $2,000 up to several times a year that they will pay for, that you can
Mm.
pick an organization, right? Apply for the grant, they will donate the grant, and then you go on their intranet, put out a day when you want to go either put kits together or volunteer time, and other people who are members of this as well can join in. And this is all that the insurance company pays out of pocket. You can have an impact of a couple of $1,000s and meet a few other like-minded people without spending an extra penny, right?
Right.
So there's several different ways to give. So then you're giving of your time, and the insurance company is giving of dollars, and it's just such an impactful gift with a multiplier. There are times during the year when the government of Canada or different organizations will multiply your gift. We'll say for every dollar you give, we'll give 2 or 3. So there's those little multiplier effects as well. So there's a ton of places, right? And you can volunteer again. You can volunteer your time, whether that's community organizations, right? Whether that's specific places like maybe say like a Big Brother type of situation. There's so many ways we can give and impact people. And let's face it, these last 2 years, we may not have had the chance to use up those clothes in the closet as much as we'd like. But I tell you what, there's other people who could really use some of that. And I am one of the first people who needs to go and purge. Right? I've got a lot of stuff that could benefit somebody else that I should get rid of some more. I've gotten rid of a few, but I know personally I can and will do better with that as well. Right? So there's so many ways to do that.
And as you talk about that, I'd like to hear from our viewers to hear what are they doing now in their seasons of giving. As we say, the season is whenever your season is. It's a mindset, right? Some persons have a one-time season, some have it all year round. So leave in your comments below. We'd like to know what are you doing in your season of giving? Are you giving your time? Are you giving clothing? Are you giving money? And what are you doing? We want to know, and how you find that's impacting your own life. Like, would love to hear about that. So type in your comments below. And I'm still coming back to I didn't say much about receiving, but
yes,
I'm talking and I'm still thinking receiving, right? And so I just need to add a little bit more about that, because receiving is necessary and it's so important, right? So while giving feels wonderful, it only works when there's a receiver, right? So we have to allow ourselves to be a gracious receiver. And I find it's such a humbling experience, right? And it's truly an act of love because it offers a chance for others to give. And I remember someone telling me years ago when I was rejecting a gift, and they said to me, you're really I'm trying to remember the exact word he said. He was saying that you're denying me of my blessing. So when you don't receive, you're denying someone else of their blessing. So when you're giving, you're getting your blessing. But what about the person who is doing the giving now, and you need to receive? So receiving is not about expecting others to give to you because you're more important or deserving. It's about receiving a gift without guilt, because a lot of people feel guilty when they receive a gift, right? So it's about receiving without guilt or any neediness and without feeling obliged to give back, right? It's not to mean, we talk about I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So people think that if someone give, they have to give back. So sometimes they don't want to take because of that, right? So we're talking about people receiving graciously and you're giving selflessly too, because it's an everyday choice that opens out that possibility, right? So I don't know what you have to say on that, Glenn. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Genese, when you talk about receiving, I'll be quite frank with you. I am one of the most, I have difficulty with that. I'm getting better. Okay. I'm getting better. But a lot of times in the past, my thought was, well, I don't really need anything. So no, there's other people who need it more. And you're right. For the person who's trying to give to you, if you don't receive well, you don't give them a good vibe. You don't intentionally do so, but you don't give them a good vibe. And sometimes it's compliments. You get a compliment and it's like, oh, that's nothing. Don't worry about it. I don't need
exactly.
them. I think the words you're looking for, and I speak for myself, are thank you. Right? Just take it. If someone goes and thinks about giving you a compliment, they wanted to convey something to you. I have been in the past dismissive by saying, no big deal. Thank you. Thank you. It does for them and it does for you. Just take it in the moment that it's given. It does well for both, right? And I have had to really work on that for myself. So just an encouragement to everyone out there. When you're getting gifts, whether it's a compliment or someone went and thought of getting something for you, especially those unexpected ones, thank you, because
Yes,
they thought about you and then they executed something, whether it's words or actually getting something done, right? And again, it doesn't have to be reciprocal with that person. But I tell you what, when you get a gift, especially if you really reflect and think, wow, this person thought enough of me to do this, it opens up your mind to think more of other people too. And again, it's that abundance thing, right? It's abundance. You
right.
feel better about yourself, you feel better about people and humankind, and you can pass that on. So that in itself is a gift by having a better attitude as we approach each other, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
yes, the receiving is definitely something I'm continuing to work on, and I think we all should.
And I could not end this talk without putting a little bit of tithing. You know, I know some persons are familiar with it and some are not, but it's just a good thing to think. And when I talk about tithing, I'm not only talking about your money. I mean, it's a good thing to tithe your money, but it's also a good thing to tithe your time and your talent. I once heard that when you tithe your time, your talent, and your money, you're actually releasing the kink in the hose that blocks the flow that's seeking to come to you, right? So it's something to think about, right? So instead of looking at what you don't have and what's wrong with it, just pause for a moment and just begin mentally to accept the great blessings that your life is right now. And just take the good that you do have and just be grateful for it. There is someone, his name is Norman Vincent Peale. He once said, when you discover the wonder of giving, you will wonder, how could you have lived so long any other way? Right? So, I mean, I'm always throwing out a challenge. And here's another challenge for everyone. Give yourself 6 months of just focusing on expanding your giving. And I think that this will really give you the opportunity to feel what happens as you begin your season of giving and see what difference it can take, what difference it can make in your life. When you just shift that focus and you have that focus shift, it's something. And as I'm talking about that, I'd like to hear your comment. And also, if you do not have a financial advisor, as you are in the season of giving, it's always good to have that talk with your financial advisor about the benefits of giving. And also, I mean, the tax breaks you can get. I'm going to put Glenn's information in the description below. If you do not have a financial advisor, please reach out to Glenn, contact him, and he'll set up a no obligation talk with you that you can just do whatever assessment or initial talk with him, and he can go through with you all of that. He can set up a really good plan for you, how you can give and how you can benefit from that. It's just something to consider now. So if you're not giving now, start now and make that appointment with your financial advisor. All right.
All
Glenn,
right.
any last words?
Yes. So, a couple of things. Ways to give again. Give dollars, which most people are used to. Give
Mm-hmm.
of your time. I think those ones probably recharge you more than ever. And those are the ones you might think, I don't have that much time. When you are dealing with an organization where you're interacting with people directly, whether that's the elderly or children or whatever the case may be, the immediate and ongoing effects for you, the giver, are immeasurable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And give of things, right? Whether that's, I tell you one of the things I concentrate on. I concentrate on January, February, as far as more like, say, the food banks, because I know during this Christmas season, a lot of people are going to be willing to and just are used to giving. Those are the times when after the letdown of the holidays, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
when we're still in the winter months, when employment might still be tight and bills are higher, those are when families, especially we're talking for the daily stuff, just groceries, that's when they get hit most. So maybe think of spreading some of that out or concentrating more then, right? One of the things that I think of, and one of the things I'm sure quite a few other people think of is after the holidays, right? After the holidays, people will still need help. So think of doing that. So yes, we talk about again time, we talk about things, and we talk about ongoing. And some of
Yes.
these ongoing, again, like we said, whether that's I've got some dress shirts I don't use anymore. Well, someone might just be getting in the workforce. Maybe they could use some of that stuff without having to go buy it. There's so many different things and so many great organizations out there that are willing to guide you if you don't know. So pick up the phone, give them a call, right? Find out how you can help. And as I said, I guarantee you, being the giver will sometimes make you be a huge receiver because of how you will feel having known that you've helped somebody else. And the word season. Season we've deliberately picked because season is not just right now for Christmas. Season, like we say, with the literal seasons can be 3 months, or in this case, could be year round. So
Yes.
give of yourself this season. And in this case, we're talking this whole year. There will be many ways to do so. We just have to sit and think about it. All right. So we just wanted to encourage you with that and say, have a fantastic holiday season, but continue to expand that giving, not just for those who receive, but for you, the giver.
Great. And thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Thank you. Enjoy your holidays.